Okay. There you are. Amazing. There you are. Amazing. Do you think this is a good stream? There you are. Amazing. Do you think this is a good stream? There you are. Amazing. Do you think this is a good? Looks pretty good. I'm trying out a new streaming platform called Stage 10, and we'll see how it works. Okay, so I assume you're not warmed up. Let's warm up a little bit. So first of all, you need to tune. Okay. So there's a lot of important things you got to do this week. You got to stretch a lot. Stretching is super important. Did we cover how to do like what we call the willow tree?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we did it before. So basically, I want to stand up. So you want to get a willow tree. You just basically put your arms up, then you're a tree, and then like the wind is blowing you this way. Now, a variation is like what they do in like yoga, right? Like they do this thing, so you can do that. Go the other way, and just feel like you're just naturally going that way, and then now go back and open your jaw. You kind of feel your neck stretching too, and then go forward. Now this is really helpful for just top a little bit of your hips too. Now that thing of just stretching like this, just can you do like this and just reach down your leg as far as you can. You feel that side really stretching, or the other side. Which side is tougher? Like
this side.
Or the right side, the other bow. Yeah. Now here's something you could do that's nice and quick and helps you to warm up. Remember that warming up or stretching will be like 20 minutes of actually playing. Like you'll be like immediately into a good feeling of playing. Maybe on really, really cold days, it'll take you longer. But like now the weather is just a little crummy because it's raining, but otherwise you can get there pretty soon. So then hands together and then push down to a comfortable position. Maybe it's a little too low. There you go. Now just move to the left or the right. And just stop when you feel the stretch. If it's painful, that's not good. Stretching is good, pain, not. You do about 8-10 seconds. Come back to the middle, and go to the other side. Keeping that counter pressure against hand against hand. And then come back to the middle. Now point straight down. Put your hand straight down and now move up. That's right. Remember feeling that it's stretching. And just relax it. You could do like this one, where you have like a hand dive, so one hand dives over the other. Like it's diving down. It's nice and slow. That's it. Now you can do some other things with your fingers. Whenever you do things whenever you're stretching or trying to warm up your fingers, those are small movements. If you're stretching out the bigger muscles, those are big movements, right? So keep that in mind because you don't want to, strain your fingers. So just, something like this is a good idea. Works your brain too. Because you're like, which one?
Have you ever noticed that some of your fingers you can't move without your ring finger?
Yeah, I think because, this one, there's like the tendons are connected.
Yeah, but it's weird because I feel like one of my hands has that tendon and one of them doesn't. Because I can't put this one up anymore.
Oh, you ever break it?
No.
Strain it? You ever strain it?
I mean, I broke my radius and ulna when I was 4.
Maybe it's one reason.
I don't know.
So now just push them lightly like that, like you're doing a shoving match. Yeah. Just relax it, Now, watch this one. Put your finger like underneath this joint here. And underneath the top one. Just also here. Just to warm it up a little bit. Okay. Now we could do sitting stretching too. So let's do shoulder shrugs. It'll be the last thing. So shoulders up to your ears. So go back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, go down. Now you're going forward. It's kind of like you're squeezing the other side together. And then up and back. Shoulder blades. It's always at the extremes. Go to the top, go to the bottom extreme, squeeze together extreme as well. If you feel some cracking along there, it's probably okay.
I crack a lot. It's normal.
Yeah. And all these big stretches, do them big, but do them slow. Okay. All right. Now this is a stretch that comes from a book, a Fritz Mogg book. So hold your bow. Point it out like this, at the bottom to the bottom, meaning the hair to the floor. Now just in this outstretched position, just twist your wrist and your fingers and try to touch your nose. Now twist out a little bit. Keeping your wrist, you're keeping the hair flat towards the ground so that your wrist is, you see the palm of your hand is down. Now go back, forward, nice and easy. It's interesting. I think it helps you with your fingers on the bow, right? Also helps you stretch out your wrists a little bit. Feel that? Get in the goal with that. It's all right. Now, next is we're going to play long tones, but we're going to go into long tones with harmonics for various reasons. So now, but before we start, just go to the C string, right at the frog. Now, give you a little couple of pumps here. But see, the bow stays on the C string. Don't let the bow move to yeah, see? So that means you're pivoting a little bit on your fingers, especially your thumb. Right. Now, relax your arm and go right and left. Don't go up and down. You mean like go up. Make the string move right and left without making any noise. Now go to the middle of the bow. Now your arm is slightly higher. Make sure the bow is perpendicular. Make the string go right and left. Now go to the tip of the bow. Now your arm is at the highest point. Make sure you're perpendicular to the string. Right and left. Okay. Now we should do this on all 4 strings, but let's skip to the A string for time. But see, when you skip to the A string, you already did like this thing where you twisted your whole body. Remember, move the chair or twist. Actually, keep the cello in the same position, but you're basically going to move your whole body, scoot around in the chair, or move the chair so that now you're on the right side, going towards your left. Right. But don't twist your body. Now at the frog, see your shoulders look better. Now, in your trying to be proper, you could be really stiff. You know what I mean? So there is a point with George W. Bush. I don't know if you ever saw this. Maybe you're too young to remember. But when he went to Europe, it was like his first time to go to Europe, which is kind of amazing. He had never visited Europe, even though he had the money to. When he was younger, he never visited Europe. So anyway, he was like having, dinner with the queen, and he was like, he looked like he was trying to have his best posture, and trying not to fall asleep, and I can imagine. So, but in that he looked kind of stiff. He looked kind of uncomfortable. So feel comfortable. So that means that you have to like find the position on the chair, a position of the cello against your body, and try to feel comfortable. Now, next is right and left. Bring your elbow down to the lowest comfortable position. Now, if you go too low, your wrist is starting to move and your fingers go out of place. They move out of place. So, middle of the bow. Wiggle right and left. Middle of the bow. Tip of the bow. Wiggle right and left. If you want to feel a little extra, feel resistance on the string, flatter hair would be a good idea. Right? Watch your shoulders. And watch what I do. I can also do it with one finger, just a thumb and index finger, and then add the other fingers. Yeah. Okay, good. So now let's do our long tones on harmonics. The harmonics we're going to do are underneath 4th, 3rd, and 2nd finger in 1st position. So let's start with the C string. Just like this. Wait, I want to tell you something. What am I doing? Just look at all I'm doing. Don't do anything. Watch. What do you see?
You moved your bow closer to the bridge as you went on, and every single one you made sure you could move.
Yeah, so remember the 1 o'clock position, and right by the bridge, not over here, but by the bridge. Let's try it. Ready? And keep flat. Yeah. Excellent. No thumb, just hand. Too far. Too far. Too far. Well, I mean too far is your second finger's too close to the nut. Too far. There you go. Now freeze. Keep playing that note. Keep playing that note while you find 4th finger on the G string. Curve your 4th finger. Go over to 4th finger. The same note. Next string. By the bridge. Keep playing that note. Find the 4th finger. Curve your 4th finger. What you did is you went like this. You went. Just move your 4th finger over by curving it. See? And if you need to, you move from the arm a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Now next. Yeah. Now, do you need to do this? Right. So when we're doing this, make it a calm exercise. Everything is moving just calmly. You don't have to rush. There's no rush. Watch how I move over. Make sure everything is good. This is the perfection exercise in a way because you don't have to rush. You don't have to make mistakes. It's actually really easy to do. And if you're tense, you're doing it wrong. So it's actually a really interesting exercise where the less you try, the more you get out of it. And that's the balance you have to figure out. Like when you walk, does it hurt to walk?
Right now.
Yeah,
But not normally.
But you're right. Yeah, I mean, normally when you're walking, is most young people is normal, right? So you want to feel like it's natural, just like walking, just like nothing's wrong. Okay. Now D string by the bridge. Now relax. Find it. Find it before you go. Curve. There you go. There you go. Come back. Curve it. Curve it. Arm up a little bit. The arm up a little bit. Yeah. Now find a second finger. Yeah. Right. Like coming back. Like you. Yeah. So here's a little. Stay right there. If you go this way, the pitch will get higher. It's the opposite of what happens that way. So from the harmonics in the middle going towards the bridge, they get higher. From the harmonics in the middle going towards the nut, they get higher. So you know you're in the wrong place if you know. But basically, how do these three notes sound like? Like a what?
Do re so.
Yeah, a triad. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Next. So now. So you notice you can't be too light. You have to have a little weight there. Now, if you have too much weight, that happens, right? So the resistance of the bow and the string, you got to really work on it. And it's not just fluffy and light. It's real weight. It's really meaty. Can you go ahead? Relax. No, you did it with your wrist. With your wrist. Well, just let it happen naturally. Everything falls. Put your bow out like this. Push on your thumb. See? It teeter and totters that way. Teeter totters. Watch. Watch my thumb. Now. Bridge. Arm up, now for cello. There you go. Thank you. Okay, now.
That bow changes.
Yeah. So it's another step. And these harmonics are easy, but you're like thinking to yourself, why can't I play so well? So you have to really focus on the bow. You have to focus on where it is by the bridge and how you're changing it, etc., and the sound and the resistance of the weight and the combination of weight and bow speed and distance of the bridge. And so it's kind of like an isometric exercise where why can't I just do this plank? This is easy. And then like 10 seconds later, you're like you're giving up. So in a way, it's like a kind of it seems easy, but it's not that easy. Okay, now lastly, just play this note. And what you want to do is you want to find that perfect condition of the bow near the bridge, of the string ringing, your finger feeling really good here as well, and you're not tight. And eventually you want to push the weight down. Remember, you want to hang the weight on there. And so this is a little transition exercise. So once you feel you got the weight and everything correct with the bow, stay in that position down there. And then don't change that position, but just stop the note. See? Trust that sound. Okay, go ahead. Not quite there yet. Now, arm weight. Vibrato. Soft and slow vibrato. Move your arm. You have an epileptic attack. You're like, can you just shake your arm? Just shake your arm, yeah. And you're squeezing with your thumb, right?
No.
You're squeezing the air. You can still squeeze in the air. You're like squeezing here. So let it go. That's better. Okay. But you notice what happened when you transition? The sound remained beautiful, but you weren't trying so hard, but you were by the bridge. So this kind of exercise is super important. Okay, now, scales. Let's pretend you were at your jury. So, let's start with a scale so you can warm up. Let's play A major. A major. Focus on your bow. E flat minor. So playing in an area that's easier, there's a temptation to play it faster, and also when it's difficult, there's temptation to play it slower.
That one was
so
too
make sure that you keep a steady tempo. 60 is like a minimum. Don't go slower than 60 because it starts to get. I'll tell you what it happens. It starts to feel like we could hear more, like you're on that note longer, and it actually sounds more out of tune the slower you play.
Okay.
It's a psychological thing. So if you play around 72, it's probably a good idea. Next is both scales had a similar inconsistency. So all of a sudden you're playing a note that's not in the scale or a little too sharp. So generally you knew where you were, but when you got to a certain part of the scale, it's like your ear shut down. So keep listening and keep on thinking about what the next steps are and try to speed it up. Now, let's go on to our solo stuff, and if we have time, we could come back to the scales. You have a class at 10?
No, but I was going to take a nap before orchestra.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming early. Right, so you want to start with your...
Do we have time for me to take like a minute? My shoulders hurt.
Oh, what happened?
Just fatigued.
Yeah. Is it because of you've been coughing a lot?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you have like pneumonia or something? Are you dying?
I don't know. Because like my throat doesn't hurt, but clearly my voice isn't back.
Mm-hmm.
And like my nose is still a little stuffy, but I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really... I have no energy.
Okay, well, let's, Now, in the jury, it'll be a lot quicker, obviously. Yeah. So, but really try your best to be warm. You have it all figured out with Alyssa, and,
yes.
And you have a time and all that. Okay, good. Okay, what happened there at the end?
I don't know.
You don't have to play by the bridge for that, for that last chord. You just play it. You know,
Okay.
If you wanted to split up the bow, you play the open G like this on an up bow. And then you could do that way. Some people have done it that way. But if you do all one bow, which is fine, normal, don't take forever. Get out the other. It's not necessary.
Okay.
In this one, what's lacking is just kind of a vision of how it should sound. You're just playing the notes. It's not anything that it's not like a performance. Really perform it from the very beginning. And we can talk about the technique, and we were talking about it, but your upper arm is it's not moving, and you're using a lot of wrist, which is I don't think it's what this piece is about. You need to have a flexible wrist. It needs to react. But if you're only moving with the wrist, I think you're setting yourself up for something that sounds a little too floppy, in my opinion. And also, it's not quite controlled. You're going. Actually, I think it's more difficult to do. So, watch my arm. Or here. Try it. Crescendo. Diminuendo. Go slow down. Go slow down. Crescendo. More crescendo.
Habit.
Just say what you want to say. And just go. I mean, there are some moments maybe where you can slow down, but if you slow down too much, it just starts to get a little bit. You start to drag. Now, what do you really like to eat? Like if you're on a desert island, what would you take with you? Chocolate, milkshakes, cake, bacon. What is it?
Maybe.
Do you like Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Could you eat chicken nuggets every hour for like a whole week? Just like keep on eating them. Is that possible, you think?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know how enjoyable it would be.
How long do you think it would take you to stop enjoying it? 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours? It's going to come pretty quickly, probably.
Yeah.
Because even though that it seems like, they're tasty, it's heavy with the oil, and eventually you just get kind of, oh, my stomach hurts, and, you need to digest them. What I'm trying to say is sometimes a good thing, a musical thing, is like something that you really, really like say, like your favorite food or dessert. But even like chocolate, some people will have to take a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
You like coffee, well, maybe you have to stop drinking coffee at a certain time so you can go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? It's like if you keep slowing down, if you keep making every note important, then the audience doesn't know where to pay attention to. They stop listening.
Okay.
And then your story gets a little confusing. Right. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Now we have to move on to the next piece. But the basic points about this one is play with a metronome and see if you can be musical with a metronome.
Okay.
See, experiment with using a little bit more bow because it seems like you're getting stuck with using your wrist. So that way you could, use a little bit more arm. Turn your bow around like this and, push on your thumb like this to see how the bow can teeter in your hand. And then do that on, yeah, right. You notice that when you go down, it's like easy. It's like just the gravity is taking it there. Yeah, going from one string to a higher string to a lower string. It's easy. So, and then it's like the opposite way. So yeah, right here you can actually see it on the film. It's easy to see that I'm moving it. Yeah. Supporting it, move your arm. Your arm. Your arm. Your arm. Yeah. So work on that and make it a little more even and a little smoother. Okay, last piece.
This one really kills me, fatigue-wise.
I hope you survive. We don't want that to happen here. We don't have any insurance. Don't do that to us. We're gonna get in trouble. Today, you're gonna play in studio class.
Allegro Appassionato?
Alyssa's gonna come.
But on Tuesday she said she wasn't because she had a class.
She said she's coming at 4:30 or something.
Oh. Okay.
I asked her yesterday.
Okay. I guess just got confused.
All right. So,
It's better and worse.
I don't know. I mean, if you want me to be honest, is I don't know if it's going to be a good performance if it's like that. You stop, so it's hard to play with the piano because she's going to be kind of confused about where you are. And when you do stop, you go back instead of forward, which is always a hard decision to make where to go. But the other is that you're missing some notes, and that you have the music in front of you. So when you're missing some notes and the music in front of you, it's not a question of memory because it's more a question under preparing. These triplets, you're still playing them like 2 60 notes and an eighth note. So they have to be triplets. Your fingers are just, you're going too fast. It's the same thing on the left hand as we have on the right hand with the flippy wrist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're reacting too quick. You know, it's if you just think it through, actually, it'll be fine. All those triplets, there's only one that you did correctly toward the end. And then I thought, well, maybe she's going to do the rest correctly, but it went back to the normal way of playing it with 2/16. I mean, your abnormal way of playing 2/16 and eighth note. When you're hearing this, I don't know why that's so difficult, but once you get to this area, which is the upper bow, you already need to be prepared, meaning your arm is already above, and so you're making that transition too late. Then your thumb should be over 2 strings. You're not using it, but it should be close to your index finger, a whole step away over 2 strings. Next, the first time is C sharp. Now, it needs to be in tune. The second time on the last page, it's with a C natural. So it needs to be really clear because the piano has that harmony. And if you play something different, you're clashing with the harmony. So you be very clear about that. It's important. Next are note dynamics, right? So really think about the dynamics. One thing that's going to help your dynamics is nice loose arm so you can get a little vibrato. Right, so that's going to help you put out a little bit more sound. I think just in general, in the scales too, you're leading with your fingers and not with your bow.
Okay.
Bow it, more bow. Your left hand will behave. It'll be fine. You got to trust your left hand a little bit. And you're being too careful, and then there's no sound coming out in everything you're doing. So be more right arm minded, and it's not like you're going to forget the left hand. In fact, the left hand has a lot of duties. It has to be there before the bow. Always left, right, meaning the left hand and right hand. But as far as the leader of the sound is concerned, is the right hand. You have a good sound. If you have a good sound, you're probably going to hear yourself better, which means you'll play in tune better because you can compare your notes better one to the next. But if you have some sounds that are a little bit questionable, then it's hard to play in tune, right? Because you don't quite hear it. Then the next note is also out of tune, and the next note. See what I mean? But you have a clear sound, you have a clear mind about the intonation. So the main thing you can work on, I think it's going to be very helpful to practice as much as possible. To practice with the metronome, because when you practice with a metronome, it simulates what happens in a real situation, meaning you can't stop. You got to play, the rhythms correctly, and it trains you to think ahead. So you're reading ahead, and you need to read ahead and think about that, how it's going to sound, how it's going to feel. When I mean read ahead, I mean you're looking ahead, and in your mind, you already calculate the movements. So when you get to that measure, it's already been premeditated. And that's what you do when you read. Is like, if you're reading with the music, so a lot of people have it by memory anyway. But you're reading the music, you premeditated the moves, and then you make the moves while you're looking at some other measure. That's how it works, really. That's how people do it. And you need to get to that level. Today is Thursday, and then the jury's on Tuesday. There's plenty of time, but you have other things to do, and then you're also sick, so you need to get rest before you get worse. You don't want to get worse, and that's a catastrophe. So between now and then, though, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full days. For sure, you can practice 20 hours. That would be 2 hours a day, right? 10 hours. At least 10 hours on this piece.
Okay.
Would you have to do it all in a row? No, you could do little by little, and just with the metronome. You could also record yourself. You could also beg Alyssa to make you play with her like Sunday night or something, and record that. You can also study the score. So say if you're so sick or you're tired, you can't play. Look at the music, study the music, and think about it. There's a lot of things you could do without the cello that are as beneficial in some ways than playing. So when you can't play anymore, or you're so sick or tired, look at the music. Think about it. Think about what we just said and how you could read the music and help prepare yourself better. So overall, the consistency has to be raised on each area: the scales and the Bach and the Saint-Saëns. So work on that consistency: consistent tempo, consistent intonation, good tone. Those 3 things will really help you play a consistently good jury. Good morning, David. So